In this video, we'll be looking at condition-controlled loops in Python. Before watching this video, make sure you've seen the Scratch version first to get an understanding of what condition-controlled loops are. Before we look at while loops in Python, let's have a look at these symbols to compare values first. The double equals symbol means equal to. Remember in Python, 1 equal sign lets you put data into a variable, but 2 checks to see if something's equal to something. This symbol here you'll be familiar with, it means greater than. And this one again you'll be familiar with from maths, means less than. This symbol here means not equal to. The exclamation mark in programming means not. Now this symbol you can work out means greater than or equal to, and this one means less than or equal to. Most of these, as I said before, you'll know from maths. To perform a condition-controlled loop, we'll use the command word while. That's why this is sometimes called a while loop. Let's take a look at how this is used in Python. Create the following code in Python, then run it and see what happens. As you know, there'll be a problem with this code. Why do you think this is happening? Pause the video here to give this a try. Also, if you've done a Scratch video, you can probably tell what the issue is already. So, when you run this code, this is the result. You'll see the program actually never ends. Do you remember the reason why? It's because we set the number to 0 in this line here. And in our while loop, the condition is going to make sure the instructions are carried out while the value of the number is less than 5. And as you'll know, 0 is always less than 5. And 0 will never be more than or equal to 5. So this is why the code will run forever. But we can fix this. Let's take a look at this slight adjustment to the code. Here we have added this new line of number equals number plus 1. This line adds 1 to the value of number each time it is repeated. So the first time the instruction is repeated, number becomes 0 plus 1, which is 1, then it becomes 2, then 3, then 4, and then it becomes 5, and the loop will stop, as 5 is not less than 5. Alright, let's take a look at one more example. Take a look at this passcode checking program. Recreate this exact code in Python, then run it to see what happens. Pause the video here to give yourself time to do this. Alright, let's look at what's happening. First, we use lines 1 and 2 to allow the user to enter their passcode. Once they enter it, we can check if they're correct. That's where our while loop condition comes in. This condition checks to see if the passcode is equal to PW123. If it's not, we can now enter the while loop, where a user-friendly error message is presented. Then the user is prompted to re-enter their passcode in line 6. This line is very important because it provides an opportunity to end the loop. Without this line, the while loop will go on forever. So, we've learned about counter-controlled or for loops, and we know now all about condition-controlled or while loops. But what really is the difference? How do we know when to use one or the other? Let's take a look at these two analogies to find out. First, we're going to have this Python counting from 1 to 5. For every number he says, we're going to draw a smiley face. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we have it. We have 5 smiley faces. If we repeat this task again, or no matter how many times we go on to repeat it, we'll always have 5 smiley faces in the end because we know we're repeating it 5 times. Now let's have a look at this analogy. Here, the Python is going to say start, and while he says start, we're going to draw smiley faces. Let's begin. And there you can see he said stop, so no more smiley faces are drawn. We have 4 this time. Let's try it once more. And this time we have 2. If we do it again, we'll probably have a different number, or we could have the same number. We don't know. And the reason is because this is an instruction that is being repeated based on a condition being met. Hence the name condition-controlled loop, whereas the other example had an instruction repeated based on counting numbers, hence the name counter-controlled loop. So a counter-controlled loop is done when we know exactly how many times we want an instruction to be performed. A condition-controlled loop is when we don't know how many times. And that's everything you need to know about looping in Python.